Work for
Anyway,
Joji.
today we're going to be talking about the most controversial video games. For the most part, I try to look for video games that are not really that well known, so you guys have some fresh content. All my sources will be linked down in the description below.
I guarantee I'll know all of them. I'm confident I'll know all of them.
1992.
I was immediately wrong. The fuck is Night Trap?
In this game, the player takes a role of a special agent tasked
One
to
of
watch
these
over teenage
games.
girls having a sleepover, and those girls are visiting a house which they don't know is full of danger. The player watches live surveillance footage of the house and triggers traps to capture anyone seen endangering the girls.
Watch out!
Designing a game where you're supposed to watch a bunch of underage girls having a sleepover is already pretty weird, but designing a storyline where they're gonna get hurt, it's a little bit... nah, it's not it. The player can freely
shit. Sorry to pause so quickly. This just poured salt in an old wound. Who remembers, I think it was 2 years ago, that game they tried to make about a, was it a female streamer? It was a full motion interactive game. Or, yeah, full motion interactive game, whatever. A live movie. What was it called? Because I can't remember it now. Was it Gamer Girl? Was it actually just called Gamer Girl? It might have been. And they canceled it because it got clowned on so hard. Rest in peace. This game would have been fucking amazing. Oh, yeah, you play as the moderator. Fuck!
Junk has been taking out my stream.
Fuck! Would have been so good.
Oh, come on. No.
I'll skip around a little bit, but you get to the big reveal. I was so hyped for this game. Thanks, recent floppy. I mean, they filmed most of the game. They should just release it, man. Why not? Like, why just hold on to that? Let us have it. Go independent. Like, shit. I mean, I'll finance it. I want to fucking play it. I want to see what it was. What was the studio behind that? Let me look. Like, what do they want? Like, $100 maybe? What the fuck is all this? Oh, no, wait, these actually did get published. It's just they were not popular. Hey, if you're watching this, Whales Interactive, I will buy a Gamer Girl from you. In whatever state it's in. I still really want to play that pile of shit. I mean, you're not doing anything with it. Fucking, what, on like a flash drive or something? Like, yeah, I'll take it from you. I'll put that shit on Steam for free. Just for the love of the sport, god damn it. I want to see that game badly. No, I didn't do the new Destiny 2 raid. And if Gamer Girl comes out, I may never need another video game. This has everything you could ever want from gaming. Ah!
Couldn't stand in my way, would you?
This game looks awesome.
Night Trap was one of 2 games criticized during the 1993 congressional hearings on violent video games. The other was Mortal Kombat. Public concern grew surrounding the Senate hearings that revolved around Night Trap's apparent violence resulted in the creation of the Entertainment Software Rating Board.
Wow.
It's the ESRB, which is still used to this day.
Who is she being hunted by? Foot ninjas from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
RPG. 2005. 6 years after the
I've heard
events
of
that
this one.
happened
I knew
at
this
Columbine
one.
High School, he initially distributed the game anonymously, but after a friend of one of the victims discovered his identity, LeDon decided to come out as the creator. About 10,000 people had downloaded the game in the year since its creation. Enemies are named stereotypes or occupations such as preppy girl, janitor, math teacher, and a jock type.
Yeah,
Combat has 2 options. Lines of the gunman's dialogue are often lifted verbatim from their writings or from their home videos of each other. In contrast to the 16-bit graphics, there are digitalized photographs from the shooting or full voice samples from news reports. Reaction to Super
this one
Columbine
was
Massacre
really
was
fucking
extremely
dark,
negative.
man. What is he doing now? I actually never followed up on this. I've known about that for a long time. What was his name again? Danny LeDon. So that it is Daniel. How do you spell his name? Okay, how about this? We'll just look it up like this. Okay, so he only made 1 game. And it was this one. Damn. Yeah, it's fucked up. I had assumed he maybe stayed in the video game industry, but I guess not.
Custer's Revenge, 1982.
I know this one.
First released in November 1982, the game gained notoriety owing to its goal of being a Native American woman. In the game, the player controls the character named Custer, depicted as a man wearing nothing but a cavalry hat,
Yeah, Atari
gloves,
games are
boots,
pretty
and a bandana
wild.
with a visible you know. It was sold in a sealed package labeled "Not for Sale" to minors and sold for $49.95.
$49 for that?
$4 today. It acknowledged that children might nonetheless see the game. The game's
$49
literature stated,
for a
if the kids
single
catch you
level?
and should ask, tell them Custer and,
like,
the maiden
6
are
pixels?
just dancing. Women's rights groups criticized the game, stating that it was a simulation of other groups such as Women Against Pornography, Native American spokespersons, and critics of the adult video game industry in general protested about the content of the game. American Multiple Industries responded with, quote, "Our object is not to arouse, our object is to entertain. When people play our games,
What?
we want them smiling, we want them laughing." The game's designer, Joel Miller, said Custer was, quote,
What?
"seducing the maiden and that she was a willing participant." By April 1983, the game was
What is
withdrawn from
What? What a fucking weirdo. So, I mean, he had to blur the game out, obviously, but the game is literally that one guy with a wiener and one girl, and the two of them just, like, collide like two action figures, because it's the Atari. Like, it's not entertaining or anything, and he's certainly not seducing. There's no cutscenes or anything. It's just an actual rape simulator for the Atari. Is he still in the gaming industry? Did he go on to work for any other big projects? Maybe he, like, had a huge glow up and he helped work on, like, I don't know, what's a beloved title? Red Dead 2. He works at Blizzard now. Okay. So it comes full circle then.
Hatred, 2015.
Yeah, this one was big.
What is important?
It just wanted to be as edgy as possible.
Hatred is a gruesome shooter game presented in an isometric perspective, in which the playable character and protagonist is a mass-murdering villain who, quote, "hates this world and the human worms feasting on its carcass," and embarks on a genocide crusade against the entire human race. The player can carry 3 weapons and an assortment of grenades, as well as drive some vehicles. Health is regenerated by performing glory kills on people. This was a rare case of a video game being given the adults-only ESRB rating.
Yep,
Games
I
with
remember
the
this
AO
whole
rating
thing.
are Jfk Reloaded is a 2004 first-person shooter game developed and published by Traffic Games. It
I knew about
simulates
this
the
one as well.
1963 assassination of John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States. The player, controlling Lee Harvey Oswald, is tasked with recreating the 3 shots fired at Kennedy and gains higher scores the more accurately they lined up with the report. Shots
I
can be
didn't know
reviewed in
that.
slow motion and from multiple viewpoints. As Kennedy's motorcade
like
passes
Sniper
on
Elite.
Delay Plaza, the first has to miss the car. The second hit Kennedy in the neck and John Connolly, the governor of Texas, in the chest, and the third fatally hit Kennedy in the head. The perfect score is
Holy
1,000.
shit, wait,
While
this
the
is
game does
really
not halt
thorough.
the player from pursuing alternative scenarios.
That
The
has its own
score is
replay
deducted when the
system.
player goes off script from the event, such as hitting Jacqueline Kennedy, the first lady. JFK Reloaded was denounced by several public figures like David Smith, a spokesman for Ted Kennedy, stating simply that it's despicable. Politician John Kasich discussed the
It's
game
a
in his
weird
book,
concept
Stand
for a
Something,
game,
The
but,
Battle
like,
for America's Soul,
the
and a
tech's
segment
kind of
about graphic
interesting for
content
its
in
time.
mainstream video games. For some of them, I do have to explain why they're controversial, but this one is like, you could just tell. Silent
Man,
Hill.
I feel like I'm pausing after like each one now, but I always have something interesting. You guys know that the Kennedy family lobotomized their daughter? We were talking about this on the podcast recently. I didn't know how fucked up that was, but I don't remember what year. The mom and dad Kennedy had their daughter undergo a lobotomy. Her name was Rosemary, because she had like mood swings and shit like that. So they had her lobotomized, and it was horrifying, the report. Then I think the lobotomy even won a prize for the science behind it or whatever. But basically, they were poking her brain through her eye socket, I believe. And when they were making cuts, they would have her recite the Lord's Prayer out loud. So she was awake during this, by the way. So as they were like making cuts, she would have to be reciting the Lord's Prayer as well as singing the national anthem. That's what it was. And when she started being incoherent, they would stop cutting. And the result of the lobotomy is her like mental capacity diminished to that of a 2-year-old child. She was incontinent and couldn't live on her own anymore. And so what they did is they basically got her like her own unit, like her own place to stay, and completely forbid anyone from knowing where she was and visiting her. Like, her mom and dad never visited her for like 40 years or something. The rest of the family didn't even know about it. And it didn't come to light until like the 80s, I think, the 70s or 80s, where the lobotomy was more well known, and then they tried to reintegrate her into the family. But I mean, by that point, she'd been living in that facility for like 60 years. And then she died, I think, in 2005. So yeah, I was reading about that the other day. It was fucked up, man. They lobotomized her over mood swings. A legitimate lobotomy. Source beyond Wikipedia. Oh, there's so much on it. Like, you can get the cliff notes from Wikipedia if you want, but there are, like, I think there was an entire, like, giant book written about it, and I think there was a movie, a documentary. I can't remember now. But man, it was a wild story. Yeah, they sent her right to a lobotomy.
Homecoming, 2008. I'm sure we've all played or at least heard of the Silent Hill series, and I'm still pissed PT was cancelled. Alex Shepard, a soldier returning from war to his hometown where he finds his town in disarray and his younger brother is missing. As he continues on his search to find his younger brother, he discovers more about the
this was controversial.
Cult,
I streamed
as well
this
as the
game.
town's history and his own past. Okay, a Silent Hill game. Why is this on the list? The game is literally banned in Australia. This scene shows Alex having a drill forced into his right eye socket, causing a lot of blood to spew out. I couldn't find an HD version of this scene, since the scene is a QuickTime event. Everyone just posted what happens when you succeed. I only found this extremely pixelated version.
Damn, that's hardcore. Get banned in Australia,
Left Behind,
idiot.
Eternal Forces, 2006.
I don't know
Left
this
Behind,
one.
Eternal Forces is a Christian strategy game. In the single-player campaign, the player controls the Tribulation Force, a Christian group in a post-rapture New York City who are combating the influence of the global community peacekeepers with their side and only using lethal
Move
force
over,
against
StarCraft.
the Antichrist
The
army
Lord's
forces
here
when
now.
necessary. This was a very controversial game, as it quite literally is telling you, if you don't believe in Christianity or are an atheist, well, you're wrong. Other than that, the game's reviews are extremely negative. Like, it's just a bad game in general, which is going to be a common thing in these games.
That's
Most
not
of them.
super
Not all of them.
controversial.
Silent Hill's great. I just want to make that
That's
clear.
like every
Except the next
Christian
one.
game.
The next one, if you're a lonely teenager that's a guy, or at least you like girls, you're going to love the next one. Dead or Alive Xtreme Series. 2003
Hey,
till
these are
now.
classics.
The regular Dead or Alive games are a part of the fighting series that began in 1996, developed by
controversial.
Team Ninja and Tecmo. We went from polygons to this. Now, as one
Yeah,
can
we
imagine,
did.
the games received much backlash for being
Evolution.
sexist and being a way to just creep on girls, I guess. The VR version of Dead or Alive Xtreme 3 takes things to the next level. You can get
There's
as
a
up close and personal
VR
to the girls
version?
as you want, and let me tell you, it is graphic. Like, the girls
Bro,
just sit there.
he's
and you
selling
can, like I
me
said,
on it.
You just get as close as you want. Do you think it's misogynistic or sexist, or at the very least creepy? Let me know your thoughts. I really want to know the Dead or Alive fan base's thoughts on that spin-off.
They don't make the fighting games anymore, do
This
they?
video is sponsored by Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN
It's only
is a
Dead or
tool that
Alive
encrypts your
volleyball
data
now,
and
right?
hides your when the traffic arrives at the server,
No,
the
not
VPN
anymore.
server
That's a shame.
decrypts information
Dead or
and
Alive
allows
3
traffic
is
to
actually a
access the
really
desired
good game.
destination.
Well, at
Atlas
least it
VPN
was.
is available on iPhone,
It was pretty
Android,
innovative. You
Mac,
could
and
bust
PC.
people through the
Currently, Atlas
stages, which
VPN
was
is
really
running
cool
a
for its
3-year
time.
deal for just
So we have to
Ethnic
wait.
Cleansing, 2002. Now, this one is self-explanatory when it
Jesus
comes
Christ.
to why it's Ethnic Cleansing is a first-person shooter video game for Windows computers created by the American White Supremacist and Hate Organization, National Alliance. It's a unique name.
What?
As part of a, quote, race war, the player controls a neo-Nazi skinhead or a Klansman and is tasked with killing stereotypical African, Mexican, and Jewish enemies. I don't even know if you can find download links for this, but I don't even know if I want to include this in the video, actually. If you guys are watching this, then I guess I made it in. I don't even want to talk about this one anymore. Grand Theft
I
Auto
haven't
San
heard of
Andreas,
that one,
Hot
actually.
Coffee mod, 2004. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the most
Holy
iconic game
shit.
in VTech Rampage.
I didn't know it was that deep.
2007. I don't want to talk a lot about this one, so I'm gonna try to make this one quick. Only
Makes
3
me so
weeks after
Swan
the
and
Virginia
explosive.
Tech incident, Ryan Lambourne from Australia created a spin-off RPG. And while doing research, man, fuck this guy. The source I read said he only did it just to be offensive and he thought it was funny. That's it. That's why he recreated this Virginia Tech incident and
Yeah, sounds about
made it
right.
into not only that, but as I was reading, in 2013, this same idiot released another game based on Handy Suck. I'm not gonna say it, so I changed the first letters because I'm not trying to get demonetized.
Yep,
but
that
yeah, he made
sounds about
another
right.
video game like that. And
Giant
honestly,
fucking
fuck him.
loser.
Let's move on. Play, 2006.
Yep.
Play is a 3D
This is the most
Eroge
well-known
video game
one.
made by Illusion. The game centers around a male character that you control, whose goal is to a mother and her 2 kids, specifically her 2 daughters. The protagonist SA's 2 minors and an adult woman, and the minors' ages are 12 years old and 17
Holy
years
shit,
old.
I didn't know
After
that.
the player finishes all 3 women, they unlock free play mode. Articles in defense have also been written, many noting that rape is considered a lesser crime than murder, yet there are thousands of legal video games.
I mean, there's
in
a
which the
lot
goal is
of
to kill
like
enemies. Yeah, that was people's
hentai.
argument. Illusion's response to the controversy was basically, hey, it's okay in Japan, so if you guys don't like it, well, we're in Japan. As an immediate aftermath, several eroge publishers doubled down and studios began to ban foreigners from their official websites. They really like what they do, man, and they will stand for it. This is probably the
Do
worst
they
one
still
on the
make
list in the
games?
blast.
If you
If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like.
I wonder if they're still around. Hold on, let me look that up. Well, that's pretty dangerous to look up on stream. Let me do that on my phone, actually. They are still around? Let me see what they make now. I know that... So there was Rape Lay, and they also made Battle Raper, if I remember correctly. And they are still making games. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. There is like a whole lot of like rape hentai, man. I don't know. Super weird. Super disturbing.